child abuse, when it started, and how we can stop it. Nationwide, there was 2,334% increase in hotline calls from 150,000 in 1963 to 3.3 million in 2009. In 2011, there were 3.4 million calls. From 1992 to 2009, in the U.S., substantiated cases of sexual abuse declined to 62%. Physical abuse decreased 56% and neglect 10%. About 1% of child population are substantiated victims of abuse. It's hard to imagine someone intentionally hurting a child. Yet nearly 1 million children are abused each year in the United States alone. And these are only the reported incidents of child abuse. Many more are unreported and undetected. Often more children are afraid to tell someone who can help. Most of the time, kids know their abusers and it happens in the home. This makes it difficult for children to speak up. Many children don't speak in fear, and they are either not believed or beaten somewhere. Physical abuse is not the only type of abuse. Sexual and verbal abuse are also abuse. Sexual abuse is the abuse that no one speaks of. Child abuse has a lengthy history. Children have been subject to abuse by their parents or other adults since presumably the beginning of time. For many centuries, laws failed to protect children from abuse. Children under English common law were considered to be property of their fathers, as women also were the property of their husbands. In early 1870s, child abuse captured the nation's attention with the news of an 8-year-old orphan named Mary Ellen Wilson, who was suffering daily whippings and beatings in her foster home. With no organization existed to protect abused children, the orphan's plight fell to attorneys for the American Society for Cruelty Towards Animals, ASPAC. The United States Health Department and Human Services states that National Child Abuse Prevention Month communities should rededicate themselves to being supportive of families and play an active role in preventing child abuse and neglect. One of the communities provides funding for National Child Abuse Prevention Month and is through national community-based grants for the prevention of child abuse and neglect. April has been designated of Child Abuse Prevention Month in the United States since 1983. In 1962, United States doctors C. Henry Kemp and Brant Steele published the Battered Children Syndrome, which helped doctors identify child abuse, its effects, and needed to report serious physical abuse to legal authorities. Its publication changed the prevalent views in the United States where children were abused, previously seen as uncommon and not a regular issue. In 1974, the U.S. Congress passed the Child Abuse Protection Act, which provides funds to states for development of child protection services and hotlines to the media, and advocacy coverage and research brought about the gradual change in societal expectations in reporting abuse. Child abuse is very common but never really talked about. So, child abuse needs to be talked about more so these children don't suffer.